And welcome back. As we continue working in our 3D space, we of course have gone through and done several different things within our game world here. For example, if I am in here in my game space and I want to kind of start thinking about how I can make different pieces of this world interact. Well, one of the ways that we can do this is to really start thinking about, for example, like our obstacles here or our walls. What are the components that are available to them? Because previously we had done this collide script, and we can start thinking about ways we can make that collide script work for us to kind of really start affecting some of these objects. So for example, if I look at my wall and I open up my mesh collider, you can see we have different things in here, including materials, including our wall material that we previously created. So for a very simple demonstration, let's just do something. So for example, when our game object collides with the wall, it changed the wall color. This could of course help simulate a visual element for the game, giving the player some kind of visual feedback like, hey, I've hit this wall. What? Maybe you're doing things like, eventually you can maybe think, well, how can I keep track of health or keep track of things. But for now, we're just going to do a basic color change. And the way we can do that is through our code. So over here in Visual Studio, let's go ahead and add in some code to do that. And the way we're going to do that is using the GetComponent option. And you can see it's trying to fill in some information here, but we don't want to use the collider here because what we're trying to do is change the color. And the color is actually controlled by the mesh renderer. Not the mesh collider there, I see it's trying to be helpful, but we want the mesh renderer because that's what actually is going to apply that particular color to our object. And then we can, of course, do our parentheses. And what we want to do is dot, and since it is the wall material, we're going to use a material, and you can see it's prompt us in here, material.color, and I'm just going to take that autocomplete. Now notice it says equals color.white. Now this color here is, of course, a capital C because that is referring specifically to the color property, and it just auto-completed to white. Now we can make this whatever color we want. In fact, I can just hit dot, and you can see I get a list of colors that are available to me. So for example, I want to make my wall red, which might make sense. If we're hitting it and it's getting angry, we might want to use that red color. So let's go ahead and save this and test it out within our game. Alright, so if I go ahead and play my game, I can now begin to drive, and if I come along, boop, oh, you can see that wall is now red there. And we can see here in our kind of more game view versus scene view, we can see how that is affecting things. Now, you might say, I don't want this to be red. It might be just a little too bold or maybe in your face. You can easily go in and change that color. In fact, I challenge you to go change it to a color of your choice. And I think this is going to be a pretty quick warm-up here to get us into making a game that's much more complex. Obviously, we can start revisiting things such as our obstacles and stuff like that, because you can see those are also being changed colors, because right now is applying this collider to happen where anything this player object collides with, it's taking that mesh color and changing it red. So we might have to, in the future, adjust some things, but I think this is a good start.